Hello everyone. The topic of my presentation today is waterfall with iterative and incremental models. My presentation is mainly divided into 5 parts. And let us see here. The first part is introduce two software development models. The second part is compare the two models. The third part is views on the advantages of the model. And the fourth part is how to determine the most appropriate method to use in various scenarios. And the last part is reference. Okay, now let's begin. First, let us see the part 1. In the first part, I take a thorough look at waterfall and iterative incremental software development models, focusing on the principal advantages, disadvantages, and applicability of each model. Next, I will discuss two models from these 4 aspects, which are principles, strengths, weaknesses, and applicabilities. First, let us see the waterfall models. For the principles, the waterfall model is sequential, consisting of a set phases. Each phase produces a set of deliverables that is frozen at the end of that phase. The model is document-driven. The waterfall model is based on an ideal view of how engineering work should be carried out. And next, let us see the strengths. The waterfall model prescribes a clear, structured approach to software development with milestones and deliverables, making example contracting easy. The model generated extensive documentation that can, example, facilitates knowledge transfer. Its structure provides good manageability of the process. And next is weaknesses. The partitioning into phases is inflexible and can be a poor match with some projects. It is difficult and expensive to respond to changes during the project. Feedback on the ecosystem developed is available very late in the process, and reacting to the feedback is slow and expensive. And the last is applicability. Appropriate when the requirements are well understood and unlikely to change. Good for small projects that are easy to define at the outset. Appropriate for very large projects that require extensive documentation. Good for large undertaking in which their example is a need to have very number of people working in various phases. And the second model is iterative and incremental models. And it's the same that the first is principles, focuses on the use of iteration that incrementally grows a software system in increments. Each increment is a self-contained mini project containing activities such as requirement engineering, design, implementation, and testing. Each increment produces a suitable integrated, potentially tested completed system. User requirements are prioritized and important ones implemented in initial iterations. And the next is strengths. Making the actual system being developed available earlier. facilitating earlier customer feedback and earlier delivery of customer volume. The final produce thus better matches the real customer needs than when using the waterfall model, as early increment work as involving prototype leads to an overall smaller risk of project failure than when using the waterfall model. Iteration at a smaller undertaking as smaller to control and manage than one single large project. Increases job satisfaction of developers as they get to see the fruit of their work earlier. And the next is weaknesses. It can be more expensive than waterfall development as planning and testing. Examples are done several times. May require more experienced staff as less exact plannings and available. The system architecture must be well planned to facilitate change. Correctly more difficult to use than the waterfall model. And the last is applicability. Appropriate when it is expected that the requirement needs will involve during the project. Appropriate when it is likely that the customer has difficulty starting exact requirement at the outset of a project. Appropriate when a project has technical risks that might best be mitigated by starting to build the actual system. And next, let us see the part 2. Let's illustrate with multiply real-world examples when one model may be more suitable than another. We will focus on the following 3 examples, named Complex Innovative Construction Project, Enterprise Software Development, Traditional Manufacture Industry. And let us see the first. In the case of a complex innovative construction project, an iterative and incremental model is preferred over a waterfall model. This is because a complex construction project may require flexibility to adapt to changing requirements. In this scenario, the iterative and incremental model can better accommodate imagining, designing, and functionality requirements, allowing for adjustment and improvement at different stages of the project. The waterfall model, on the other hand, is more suitable for projects with relative suitable requirements that are less prone to changes, such as traditional construction project. And the second, for enterprise software development, such as financial system or human resources management system, the waterfall model is most suitable. Typically, these projects have well-defined requirements and security and suitably are paramount concerns. In this context, the waterfall model is preferable as it allows rigorous quality control and security testing. And last, in the traditional manufacture industry, such as automobile manufacture, strict quality control and production process are essential. In such cases, the waterfall model is more appropriate because production process and techniques need to be executed precisely on the production line, and any changes may lead to errors and increased cost. Well, let us see the next part, the part 3. In the first part, I have elaborated on the advantages of both models. And I believe that based on these advantages, the appropriation software developed model can be applied to the suitable project. Now, let us see the part 4. In the first part, I have elaborated on the retrovertibility of the two models individually. Now I will discuss guidelines on how to determine the most suitable approach for various scenarios. First, we can broadly categorize the scenarios into the following categories. The first is stable requirement, where requirements are well defined from the beginning and are unlikely to change significantly during development. The waterfall model is more appropriate. The second is change requirement. Conversely, when it is expected that requirement and user needs will evolve during the project, the iterative and incremental model is more suitable. The third is small project. For small scale project, the waterfall model is a better fit. The fourth is large project with extensive documentation. Large projects that require extensive documentation, such as safety critical system, are also better suited for the waterfall model. And the last is technical risks. Project with inherent technical risks that may be mitigated by starting to build or prototype. The article system are better handled using the iterative and incremental model. And let us see the last part, the part 5. Please take a look here. This section includes all the references I used in this presentation. You can find the relevant information from the links. That's all. Thank you for your listening.